should. We always sound good.
We try. We try. All right, guys. Welcome back. We are
back. Yeah.
And we have some really good news. I know we always talk about AKA fighters, but one made history this weekend.
Which one?
Yeah, Daniel Cormier, the king of MMA right now.
Yeah.
I mean, they say that the heavyweight champion is the most dangerous man in the world, the baddest man on the planet. And he's not only the heavyweight champion of the world in the UFC, but he's also the light heavyweight champion. I mean, how much better does it get than that? I mean, you can't really get two better belts than the light heavyweight belt and the heavyweight belt, and to do it with such ease.
Yeah. And I don't see, there's nobody that can even contend with him in either weight class.
Yeah, that's the thing. We're looking at the rankings today, and we're just like, man, I know Gustafsson said he wants to fight him or he needs to vacate his title, but that ain't Gustafsson's decision. You know, that's the UFC's decision. And
did he already beat Gustafsson twice? Already? Or at least once?
Yeah, and the thing is like, yeah, it ain't up to him, you know?
Yeah.
And I think the Lesnar fight is the most interesting fight. I think it's a fight that Daniel deserves to have. He's proven enough to get a fight like that where he's going to be able to make the kind of money that he deserves to make.
10+ million.
And
shit.
Let me see. He was going to text me just. Okay, go ahead.
No, what do you got there?
Yeah, DC's call. I'm going to try to call him with DC here in a minute. He's checking in the hotel right now. So.
Be nice to get him on. Yeah, I don't, like I said, I don't see anybody who can contend with him either division. I mean, besides Cain Velasquez, which he'll never even, of course, entertain that idea. But I don't know. I mean, Dana White said that he will let him keep both belts. So, like you said, it's not up to Gustafsson. So, who cares what he's saying? You know?
Yeah, you know. And what about the Shogun? You said, You said that he wanted.
Apparently, hopefully, he calls in so we can ask him.
He's checking in the hotel right now, so he's.
But he wants Shogun, even though he's ranked probably 8 or 7. I think he fights later on in July, like 28th, roughly, and I'm sure he'll get the win. And then he wants him probably November-ish.
Yeah.
And then retire with Lesnar in March. So
be a big fight, man. He's gonna make a lot of money with Lesnar.
Yeah.
And the thing is like I think everyone who knows about MMA and about Daniel Cormier knows that there's no logical chance that you can give Lesnar in that fight. I mean, the odds came out today, and they opened up with Daniel Cormier 2-1 favorite, which is rightfully so. I think you're talking about an Olympic level wrestler who is knocking people out on the feet. I mean, he jumped up to heavyweight and knocked out Stipe, like clean knocked him out. Didn't use any of his wrestling, didn't use his pedigree, didn't use what got him into MMA in the first place, which I think is inspiring on a bunch of different levels with Daniel Cormier, because he's an inspiring person and a motivational person, and you know his work ethic and training attitude and mentality is something to be inspired from. So that alone is good, but you always know in the back of your mind this was an Olympic level athlete, so of course he had this natural, maybe not natural, but definitely built talent when he got into the UFC to contend and beat most of the guys that he fights. I think when he goes in there and fights Stipe at heavyweight and doesn't even use his wrestling, that's a whole nother level of inspiration and motivation to up-and-coming fighters that, like, he got to that point to where he got that knockout from abilities that he learned since he joined MMA, since he came to AKA, since he started working on his striking. It wasn't the wrestling that won him that fight. And he beat the heavyweight champion of the world. You know, a guy who's knocked out people, a guy who's a fierce striker, you know, a guy who's a tough competitor. I mean, Stipe. I mean, the guy was ranked number 2 pound for pound in the world. He just blew him away in the first round.
Tell me you agree, Cormier's number 1.
He's for sure.
I mean, it's
there's
neat,
no doubt.
Little Mighty Mouse, whatever. But again, you asked me the other day, can you name 2 people that he's beat? I can't.
I'm not going to ditch Mighty Mouse, but the thing is like you gotta look at who people's fought. I mean, so like I said, some of the best fighters in the world don't have the best records. You know, it's not like boxing where you're 50-1, 50-2. I mean, you know, a lot of the best fighters have losses because they put themselves on the line and they fight these really hard fights, and they don't show up at 100% all the time. And when you fight certain fights, you have to be 100% to win. You know, you may be the better fighter at 100%. You show up at 90, 80, or 70, you're going to lose to a fighter that may not be as good as you, but he showed up better than you. So you have to take those risks, and you look at Daniel Cormier, he's fought everyone and beat everyone. There's only one person in the world who's beaten him, and he's beaten them not cheater. Clean, you know, and you can say what you will, how much effect steroids and drugs, whatever, had on those fights, but either way, it doesn't matter. If there's a ruling body, a commission body that says, you know, he popped and he failed and he was on steroids and it was unfair, then it's unfair, you know, and even so,
not Cormier's fault.
John Jones has won 2 belts in 2 different weight classes.
I think Jones tweeted. Dare I say
Has
that?
Jones never even fought at heavyweight?
No, but he said
that fought 1 fight at heavyweight.
He's the youngest in all the top 5 of either heavyweight or light heavyweight.
He's just trying to hang on to whatever he can, I think. But the thing about it is, too, is people don't understand DC was not a light heavyweight fighter. DC has always been a heavyweight fighter. He came to AKA as a heavyweight fighter. And he weighed in
rightfully so. Look at him.
He weighed in at 245 pounds for the Stipe fight. You know, so
more than Stipe.
That's 40 pounds more than when he fought his last fight. So you got to think about, he's a heavyweight fighter. The only reason that he dropped down to 205 wasn't to take easier opponents or to fight smaller guys, nothing like that. It was because Kane was on his way to be the king, and Kane was a heavyweight, couldn't make 205. So as an ambassador to the team and just an awesome friend, he stepped away from heavyweight to let Kane push forward, and Kane did and got his belt.
He did all right. He did okay.
Kane beat Lesnar, he got his belt, and he got to be the king. And then DC dropped down and killed himself every single time to make that 205 weight limit. And so I mean, he was fighting at a weight class that he wasn't healthy and comfortable at, and still beating everyone. So John Jones can say that, you know, the steroids didn't have an effect and I'm the best fighter. But DC can say,
we'll never know.
I wasn't healthy, and that wasn't my weight class. You know, so
no matter what
I gave you tough fights every time when it wasn't even my weight class. But I moved up to heavyweight, and I've never lost a single round at heavyweight, and I've beaten every heavyweight fighter I've ever fought, and I just knocked out the heavyweight king. You haven't done that. So I think it should.
He never will.
I think, you know, without beating John Jones, I think this slams the book shut.
Tell these guys, if you will. What about our buddies? About what John Jones, Cormier does with the kids at AK still.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I say he's such an ambassador to the sport, man. He's just he's such a good person, man. I mean, he coaches like the little league teams. You know, my nephew's a part of the league and everything, and then he also he teaches wrestling. You know, he's a wrestling coach at AKA. You know, and it's all the kids. He runs a whole kids program. So if you've ever dealt with kids, you know, it's tough. It's not an easy job, you know what I mean? But he goes in there, and he is so professional, and he loves every one of them, man, and he trains them hard. You know, you can see that work ethic. I've never been in a wrestling program. You know, I never had wrestling in high school or junior high or anything. So, you know, other than training with pure wrestlers my whole career, and Kostick and Fitch and Kane and DC and all these guys, I've never seen that wrestling curriculum. But I see it through these kids, and of course it's toned down because it's kids. Yeah, but still, I mean, he has them grinding. I mean, they're working their butts off in that class, and they love it. These kids love it.
The fact that he's one of the most polarized MMA figures, and he still does that for free, right?
I mean, I would assume he doesn't get paid for it. Why would he? I mean,
exactly.
It's one of those things where if you're making like $5 million a fight or $10 million a fight, $2,000 a month or something, it doesn't make a difference. You know what I mean? And he ain't doing it for the money anyway. So I know for a fact that if his only option was to do it for free, he'd still do it. So I can't imagine he's taking money for it anyway. But it's beside the point. I mean, the point is he's teaching these kids to be wrestlers to help grow them, and he's just such a fan of the sport as well. So when he's not teaching kids wrestling, you know, being with his family, he loves his family. He's a great father, great husband. He's an analyst, and he's at all these UFCs breaking down the fights and commentating and interviewing people and doing all these things. I mean, the guy works like crazy and still goes in there and beats the best fighters in the world. This isn't a guy that's like living in the gym, training, you know, 10 hours a day and has nothing else to do in his life except just focus on training and fighting. This is a guy who is he's juggling a lot of things and still wiping out 2 divisions at the same time.
I would assume, I don't know if we even talked about it, or maybe we did, but I would assume like second round, ground and pound, TKO something. I didn't see a first round standing knockout.
Yeah, he didn't have any inclination to take it down.
He's got the best uppercut.
He does have a good uppercut. And the thing is,
ask Gustafsson, you know.
And that, I mean, that's the inspiring thing people need to take from this fight. This is a wrestler who got into MMA because of his wrestling. He got recruited by Zinkin Entertainment, Dwayne Zinkin, Bob Cook, trained by Javier Mendez and Leandro Veira. But he got into the sport because of his wrestling, and he used it throughout his career. But he never opted to be that pure wrestler that's just going to take you down, hold you down, and then just grind out a win in a boring way.
Yeah.
And I've always said this. I think if he fought John Jones to win, like if his life depended on it, or his family's like, you know, if it was like something like do or die, he'd beat Jones for sure. If he could just wrestle him down and hold him. If it's not exciting, it's not a fight, he could out wrestle John Jones. But he won't do it. He's too much of a fighter. So he goes out there and he fights. He wants to throw. He wants to kick. He wants to knee. He wants to do everything, right? And then he'll rely on his wrestling when he can. You know, when he gets a good takedown, he'll pick someone up, flip them around in the air like a cartoon, and throw them on their back. I mean, we saw it with Dan Anderson. We saw it with Gustafsson. We saw it with, I mean, it's like watching a superhero. You know, the way he just picks guys up and just twirls them around and drops them. But you know, he doesn't have to rely on his wrestling, and that's a crazy thing, man. That's a crazy thing. He's a beast. You know, he's 39. But is 39 old?
So are you?
To me, I feel like it's old, man, and I got other things going on. But like you see guys like him, he inspires me for sure. Not to continue fighting, but like in other ways. You know what I mean? Like he definitely inspires me to you know, in many ways, man. He's just such an inspiring person. He's such a good person. He's such a hard worker, you know, and you can't not be inspired by someone like that.
I love it.
So
great.
I think everyone definitely wants to watch the Lesnar fight.
Oh, that'll probably.
I mean, we know what's going to happen.
Fight
yeah, we know what's going to happen. But here's my ideal card, and I've said this a million times. I don't think Conor McGregor is going to come back and fight Khabib. But then again, I'm leaning to he might because Michael Chiesa is going to sue him. And Chiesa, did I get that right?
Yeah,
finally,
very
for the first
nice.
time.
Yeah.
Michael Chiesa plans on suing him. I guess he just announced. So he's probably going to be taking a hit. He's probably been blowing a lot of money. So when you're looking at, you know, not making $100 million, if that's off the table, $5 million, $10 million is pretty damn enticing. So I think
that'll at least pay off Chiesa.
He's going to want to take a fight to make some money, and the only fight that's going to pay that kind of money, I think that Nate Diaz fight's fading away. You know, getting less interesting.
Well,
Nate Diaz is in trouble. He's doing his own thing.
They just added 2 more counts on his.
On Nate or Nick?
Nick.
Oh,
I don't
Nick,
even know about Nate. Well,
Nate,
they're both in trouble.
Either way, it's kind of fading away a little bit. We've seen him fight. You know, it is what it is. He wants Nate to come down to lightweight. Just gives Conor more advantage now. Whatever. But the biggest fight is Khabib versus Conor. That's just the bottom line.
Of course.
And so I'm leaning that they might fight just because he's going to need that money. And he wants to say he fought the best fighter in the world. And if he does pull it off, you have to take the risk, right, to be the most successful. If he pulls it off, I mean, imagine how big he'll be if he pulls that off, which I don't see how he can do it. No, but I'm just saying if he does. So here's my ideal card. I think they should put Lesnar in DC as the main event, Conor McGregor, Khabib is the co-main event, and that I think would be probably the biggest pay-per-view.
Rockhold and Whitaker on there. I mean, shit, let's get all the AK champions.
Yeah, but that would be the biggest card in UFC. I mean, that'd have to sell more than any other card. And if they do like a world tour with that, come on. I mean, imagine Lesnar and DC. They're going to have quite a bit of bickering back and forth. You know what I mean? It's not they're 2 charismatic people. It's not like they're boring. Then you got Conor McGregor and Khabib. I mean, we've already seen, you know, I mean, what's happened with them. Yeah. It will be a crazy world tour, and
I'll watch it.
I hope they can mesh those cards. I know the UFC probably wants to have two big cards and make 2 big revenue shows, but man, if they could mix it and just break all the records it's ever been in every sport, every wrestling, every UFC, it'd do it. They'll do 3 million plus buys. I think it'd break every record ever.
Who else would be on there?
Then we just get like Floyd Mayweather Cyborg versus like some boxer, some other boxer. I return. Prelim.
Who cares? You fight Mayweather, but it's a payday.
I want the MySpace prelims. They bring MySpace back.
Is that still around?
Yeah, I think so. I think I have an account still, but I can't log in because my email address that I use for that account, I have no access to. So it's like
I think mine's.
I forgot my password. It's like put your email address, and I'm like, well, I don't have access to email address.
I remember mine. I wonder if it's.
I'm gonna go look because I want to see who my last top 9 were.
Top
or whatever.
8, whatever it was.
I'm just curious who the final one was before I got deceased on MySpace. No, I took
Tom
him
was
off.
everybody's friend.
I took him off. He made himself everybody's friend.
Wouldn't you?
God, how arrogant that guy is.
You have 41 pictures of you at the gym.
He has a he has a Instagram account too. I think I don't know how many friends he's got.
What
on
did he
there.
sell that for? Didn't he sell it to like Justin Timberlake or some
Yeah,
shit?
I think Justin jumped in on that.
That's
Bad purchase.
good investment.
No,
Yeah.
nobody's using MySpace. I think Justin's doing okay though.
I bought a VCR yesterday. Want to come over and watch it?
Yeah, sure. Got some old VHS tapes.
Us at acting school or VHS tapes.
Yeah.
I still got that somewhere.
So let's go ahead and talk about a couple of headlines. We always talked about Chiesa. Yeah, I got it. Suing McGregor, obviously.
Do you think that him? We'll cover some of the fights this weekend. I'm sure they already know the results, but we'll touch on them a little bit. But obviously, he did lose this weekend. Didn't make weight. Do you think him doing all that hurts his chances of this lawsuit?
Yeah, I think the
'Cause
fact
his
that he
whole-
missed
yeah.
weight probably hurts it, and I think the fact that he lost the fight hurts it because he came in bigger
The whole basis
and
of
he
the
lost. And he said he wasn't going to fight at lightweight again, which was that was the nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
That's going to be played in court for sure because
How can you? Yeah, the whole basis of the lawsuit is set on him
being a champion
not
at
being able to be
lightweight.
champion. Yeah.
Because he could have fought Khabib and been the champion at lightweight. Then the very next fight he has, he's quoted as saying, "I'm not fighting lightweight anymore. I'm going to fight welterweight." So,
That guy
so
needs
now,
a PR guy.
yeah, because so now if I was on, the side of Conor McGregor and his litigation attorneys and stuff, I would say, hey, man, he's not even wanting to be a lightweight fighter now. So I mean, so how much did we really ruin his chances? He may not have made weight. He may not have. So I think it's not
His
going to.
best bet was not to fight at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Milk
there's
this.
going to have to be some. He did hurt him. He did cut his eye. He did cause damage. But I think the amount he's going to get paid is going to be a lot less than.
He'll get 80, 100 grand, where he could have got maybe $1 million plus.
I think
Had he
Conor's
milked
going
it
to
there.
settle. I
Yeah.
think it'll be the best bet.
I'd
You don't
take
want the
80.
jury to decide something like that because juries are, depending on who they are, they're not going to really side with UFC fighters. You know,
Yeah.
they're not going to, especially acting like that. And
And
that footage is really bad.
But it's not like-
you don't want to go to court. I think if you're Conor McGregor, I think you
Well,
just
of course
offer him a
Yeah.
fair amount, a good amount, just to get him off your back and hope that
But
he
it's,
takes
you
it.
know, it's not like Chiesa lost an arm or something. He had a little cut on his forehead. I mean, I
Yeah.
shaved this morning and got the same exact bleed. Not my forehead. I didn't shave my
Conor
forehead.
McGregor didn't cause it. What if Conor McGregor caused it?
Oh, then I'd lay on the ground and cry.
Yeah.
I'll pull like that soccer shit that's going on now, that World Cup.
Yeah.
Have you seen that? Where they
No.
get hurt and lay there for 20 minutes and stand up and start playing again? I love soccer. What a cool sport. Any sport that can be 1-0 is a shit sport.
Really?
Just so you know.
It's
Hockey.
big, man. This World Cup has been big, dude. It's
cares?
huge in Russia too.
Yeah. It's the reason why
It's crazy right now.
America doesn't like it.
Wow.
We're not even in it.
Yeah.
Go Germany. Are they still in it?
I don't know. Last time I looked, I can't remember.
Yeah, who cares?
And DC possibly another bit of news. Possibly has a broken finger.
Yeah.
I can ask him if we can get him to call in. It was last minute notice, so he's on the run right now. But I would have liked to have called in and just said hi and congrats.
Well, he may
We've
get
talked
a,
online, but we haven't talked in person yet.
Hopefully he does call in to us, or to you, but I'll listen. Apparently, every time you break a bone in the octagon during a fight, you have to have a minimum 6-month suspension. So hopefully that's not the case. Which is what I hear. I don't know the exact rules on that,
Shit. Yeah, but didn't they say Lesnar had to take 6 months to get
but
ready
yeah,
anyway?
but that's why he can fight Shogun.
Why do you think Lesnar needs 6 months?
He
He didn't look too injured when he walked in the ring and pushed.
I think he's trying to cut weight, or
cut
no,
something. Probably change his diet a little bit.
Steroids.
We can't make allegedly. We can't make accusations, but
I can.
6 months to get ready for a UFC fight.
Yeah.
You don't need 6 months to prepare, and he didn't look injured. But you know, I can't say that I blame the guy if he's in wrestling. It doesn't hurt
Yeah, you're
people.
allowed to do it there. It doesn't matter.
It's like it's not hurting people or anything. And you know what? If he wants to come in the UFC and get clean and show up and test clean and be a clean fighter and do it, hats off to him. You can't bag him for doing steroids in a sport where it does help market you, and you know it doesn't really hurting people. You're not bashing people's faces in because you're
I don't
on
give
all
a
this
shit if
anabolic
baseball
steroids.
players do it or whatever.
Yeah.
'Cause it's sport. I mean,
Fighting is
who
just a
gives shit?
different story,
Yeah,
you know. So you can't really bash for that. You know, if he wants to get clean, I will say this: he came from fake fighting to real fighting.
Sorry, I just gotta check the timer.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I just don't want to.
We'll take a break here in a sec.
Yeah. Delete it. Sorry. Just checking.
I will say this though: he's came from a sport of fake fighting and he's handled getting his ass kicked, I guess you should say. I mean, he also won the belt, so he did prove himself to be a champion. But he's also taken his beatings like a man and came back every time. He didn't quit and run away. And like he's fought some tough guys. Kane beat him up pretty bad. He's had a couple bad losses. And to come in and fight Daniel Cormier, he has to imagine, after seeing Daniel Cormier knock out Stipe, I mean, Brock doesn't like to get hit. And now you're looking at a fighter who is a Olympic wrestler who is going to try and knock you out and can do it. So it's like hats off to him for taking these chances and going in there and like fighting these guys.
I think it's different. Like Cormier wants to be champion.
Yeah,
that's his goal. I don't think Lesnar gives a shit. I think he just wants the payday.
What's the payday and the legacy?
I mean, you wouldn't be
he's the wrestler that came in and fought for real. And
if you wanted to be champion, you wouldn't go over there and play around in the WWF or whatever the fuck it's called. I hate wrestling, so just all the fake bullshit and the stupid. Just anyway. I mean, I get it. Make your money. I wish I could do it, but I just don't see him as a. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that timer, by the way.
Yeah, it's all right.
So just till the 7, and then we're good. But
anyway, yeah. So yeah, this fight's gonna be good, man. I think it's gonna happen.
Recap a couple of these real quick. I mean, I'm sure they know the results. Like I said, let's just get. Let's
go to a commercial break real fast. I'll check in with DC, see what he's doing. Hopefully we get a call in on him. Yeah, you know about that?
Which one?
It's about this gym. They sponsor the show. It's a pretty amazing gym, I'll be honest.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. You were there this morning.
Oh, yeah.
How was it?
Yeah.
Was it good?
Actually, beautiful today. No rain.
No rain. All right. So, and we're going to go ahead and go to commercial break and let you guys see this amazing gym from our sponsor, AKA Thailand, akathailand.com.
I like how your voice gets real low like this whenever you talk about AKA.
Yeah, dude. That means a lot to me. So also, if you can book online, get 10% off. All you got to do is go online.
Nice plug. Yeah.
And we have all-inclusive packages now, guys. So for all you people that want to come to Thailand and you're nervous, just got a text. Hopefully this is good news. All you guys that want to come to Thailand and not worry about booking a moped, not worry about booking accommodations and trying to figure out where the best places to stay. And
pick up from the airport.
Because
there's nothing worse than standing 2 hours waiting for a taxi and then they don't know where to take you.
Exactly. And then getting food plans at our Contender Cafe where you don't have to worry about food. You just eat every day and pay one price. You can pay online or pay via transfer or pay when you arrive. And it's everything covered. We will take care of everything.
Info at AKA Thailand.
Info at akathailand.com, or you can go on the website and get the package, the gold package, and that's it. You pay the money and it's done. No stress. You got your accommodation, you got your moped, you got your food, you got everything you need. Airport transfer. All you have to do is get on the plane and
land and train
and have the best time of your life.
And meet us.
Yeah, we're cool dudes.
Yeah,
we're cooler than we come off on the podcast, I think.
Yeah, well, because we can't talk about a lot of things on the podcast.
So anyway, guys, we're going to go to commercial real fast, show you this, and hopefully when we come back, we'll call in with Daniel Cormier and congratulate him and see how he feels being the new king of MMA.
Sounds good.
All right, let's do it.
What's up, everybody? I am here in Thailand. This is the first time I've ever been here. Been dying to come here for years. The great Mike Swick, he's one of the big reasons he's been trying to pull me down here. What he built down here, AKA Thailand, is incredible. There's people here from all over the world. You can train mixed martial arts here, jiu-jitsu. They have weightlifting, they have cardio, and obviously they have Muay Thai, boxing, everything. I'm telling you guys, I know everybody wants to go to Thailand because Thailand's so cool, but you can't come to Thailand without coming to AKA Thailand. Come on.
All right, and we're back, and that was a commercial from our sponsor, akathailand.com.
Lovely commercial.
Lovely commercial. Absolutely amazing. So let's break down a couple fights from UFC 226 other than the Daniel Cormier fight.
Let's just
some interesting fights, good and bad, obviously. So,
which one was bad? Hey, we'll touch on that. Let's just go in order. Let's do Gokhan Saki versus Khalil Roundtree.
Yeah.
I know you like Saki because of his kickboxing background.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is he, 96-12 or something?
It's crazy. I think he's like 96 and like 12 or 15, so somewhere around there. That's a ridiculous kickboxing record. I mean, he's beat Anderson Silva in kickboxing. I mean, he's one of the best in the world. And you know, and as far as MMA, I believe he's like
1
and 2. Yeah.
I think he got knocked out twice.
Yep. So that's the sad thing about the sport, but it's also the exciting thing about the sport is you got a guy with such a good pedigree in striking, but when you put him in a cage in MMA, it changes everything. And you know, it's sad. It's sad to see a guy who's such a great kickboxer and spent so much part of his life learning striking and kickboxing and mastering it, going in there and getting knocked out by somebody who hasn't put as much time and has the accolades as he does. So, but hats off to him, man.
Well, you know, I think you touched on it when we were watching it about how you came in as a striker, but you know, you also got to remember getting taken down. So I think you open up a little more. You're more susceptible to more strikes, which is obviously what's happening here.
Yeah, and that's what. So I can relate to that in the fact that in my early career, I didn't have as many fast knockouts and stuff like that because I was very leery of getting taken down, which I'm sure Saki is.
Well, you weren't quick then. You were.
Yeah.
What was your nickname?
Kid Lion.
Okay.
That's a long story. You love bringing that up.
Love it.
But the point is like I was worried about getting taken down, and when you're worried about getting taken down because your ground game isn't where it should be, and probably better than your opponents, you're very hesitant on the feet, and it changes everything. You're thinking about the ground the whole time, takedowns, ground, versus just going out there and let loose. And in my career, Dave Camarillo made a big change in my ground game, and then Leandro Veira from there, and the more I trained on the ground, the better I got on the ground, which was something I got overwhelmed and engulfed in, and actually felt like that was at one point my best attribute was ground. The least I cared about getting taken down, and that's when I started getting fast knockouts. Like when you see me fight Schonauer, you see me fight Gideon Ray or Goulet, I just went after it. I didn't care. I didn't care about getting taken down. I didn't care about anything other than just throwing punches, throwing strikes, trying to get the knockout. Because if I got taken down, I felt fine. I felt like I could get the sweep. I could get back to my feet. It's not the end of the world. So I think that's where Saki's at right now. Is he's got to work on his. Shockingly, is you have 2 knockout losses. You think you got to work on your stand up. I think he's got to work on his ground game and takedown defense to where he's confident enough to be the striker that he is and not worry about getting taken down. And I think that would change everything.
Just to add on top of that, I believe Dana said he's still going to give him one more fight. So
yeah.
He's still got another chance. But.
And Roundtree, hats off to him. I mean,
was it a straight left?
Yeah, that was a straight, because we got a straight left knockout and a straight right later on in the card. But
foreshadowing.
Yeah.
I'll write it down for you.
Something like that. Yeah, I'll write it down next time. But hats off to him, man, because he went out there and he went against one of the best kickboxers in the sport.
Yeah. And
didn't even care. I mean, he didn't even try to take him down. I mean, he went blow for blow and like punch for punch and ended up getting a knockout. So man, he made a statement. He put his name on the map, and he's well on his way to making a name for himself and getting the big bucks.
God, I need some money. Just so you know.
All right, you gotta knock people out.
Speaking of money.
Oh, the segue. Oh, Jesus.
We had touched on earlier about Michael Chiesa suing McGregor. Again, we touched on the fight, but hats off to Anthony Pettis. As you were saying too during the fight, we do watch them together, by the way.
Yeah,
we don't watch them without each other. Have you ever noticed that? Oh, good friends.
Because we have a podcast where we recap them.
I knew there was a reason.
That's the reason. Yeah.
Yeah, he looked like you said the Pettis of old. 2 submissions in 1 move.
Yeah.
Not too shabby. So, I know we already touched on Chiesa kind of fucking himself with the lawsuit, but
I will say this though, it's pretty. I mean, the thing I like about Anthony Pettis is he's a gamer. You got these guys that aren't gamers, that are talented, and if everything's going their way, they're great, and when it's not, they're not, and they show up sometimes, they don't show up sometimes, or they get emotional. They don't like somebody and they let the emotions take over and they have a bad performance instead of a good performance. Anthony Pettis is an all-around pure fighting gamer. I mean, he goes in there. You can tell he didn't like Michael, and you can tell he wanted to prove a point. You can tell he was coming after him. He had emotion. He fought with emotion, and it showed. And again, how many times have we seen it before? Again, he proved he is Showtime. He shocked the world. He got a submission.
He's probably the best grappler in that division.
He got a submission over one of the best grapplers in that division, and he got two. Who would have predicted he would have got two submissions at the same time? He got a triangle armbar. So it's
he did tap twice, by the way, 2 different times.
So it's like, yeah, he did. He tapped on the stomach and he tapped on the leg.
Yeah.
So he actually tapped out one of the best grapplers in the sport with 2 submissions at the same time. So, I mean, hats off to him for again shocking people and being impressive. What a hell of a fight for him. Welcome back. As far as like an amazing fight. And
was he the favorite in that fight?
I
don't know.
I really don't know for
Vegas
sure.
odds, but
I really don't know for sure, but probably. I mean, I don't know for sure on that one, to be honest. But he won, and he won impressively. And I think people are watching him now. I think the division's on alert for Anthony Pettis. He's not done yet.
Well, he had the chance to fight Khabib, right? But it fell through.
I don't know.
Whenever
he was one of them.
What's his name? Pulled out the whole bus shit.
He was in the running and didn't do it.
I thought it was something like that. They couldn't agree on a money issue, but hey, to each their own.
And then Ortega, I feel bad for Ortega. Ortega was ready for a fight. I mean, they got through the whole open workouts, and he was ready to take the fight, and then it got canceled. I mean, I feel bad for him. He looked like he was pumped up. This is his big opportunity. You know what I mean? This is a big fight. This ain't like a normal fight. This is a huge fight. And he was ready to go and didn't go, and then they were trying to find him another fight, and Jeremy Stevens said okay. He was ready to take the fight, but Ed Soares, who's his manager, said no. And then Dana called him out in the middle of the press conference and said, somebody asked, probably it was Ariel, is it a definite no, or is it a maybe no? Like, are we going to see this fight? Is there still a possibility we can see this amazing matchup? And Ed Soares said no to the crowd of boos. But that was unfortunate because I would have liked to have still seen him fight, because I mean, he's an up and coming fighter who's hungry, wants to fight, and that would have been a good fight, man. Honestly, Jeremy Stevens, he brings it. He he's another one of those guys that like you want to count him out sometimes, and then he just brings it and does a great job.
Have you ever turned down a fight?
No, we've never turned down a fight. I've had to back out of fights.
Oh yeah.
But we've never said no, we don't want that opponent. My management has through my career. But once I got to the UFC level, we fought whoever they told us to, or I got injured and couldn't.
Well,
fight.
I mean, but I'm talking about flat out just saying no. I'm not going to fight him.
No, but I've never been in a championship fight, and I guess when you're a manager, you kind of make the decisions.
Well, I mean,
the
I understand. Well, that
and I think
20-minute notice, I get it, but I just didn't know throughout your career, like if you're like, hey, in 6 months, will you fight, this guy?
Yeah, and it's more political, I think, when you're a champion or you're at that champion level. I think he wants to wait and try to fight for the belt versus take a chance, which I can relate to because, I was supposed to fight Anderson Silva. I took a chance, and I fought because I wanted to stay active. I fought in my own hometown, this guy, Yushin Okami, who was an unknown at the time, and I suffered a defeat. So, if Ed Soares, made the decision to let Ortega fight, and he was to happen to get beat by Jeremy Stevens, he's back now.
Yeah.
Whereas he could possibly be a champion in his next fight. So it's political, man. You want to boo and say, But I'm glad Ed Soares is the one that said it, and it wasn't Ortega, because Ortega was game. So you can't take anything out on Ortega. You can't say he was scared. You can't say, he didn't want to take the fight. It was just his management. It was a business decision. It's a business. The UFC's a business on their side. As a fighter, you got to be business on your side, and so, yeah. It seems like back in the early days, there wasn't this kind of thing like this. There wasn't so much.
Well, they didn't have
options.
interim belts,
but there wasn't. It didn't seem like there was so many options back then. Like, it was pretty much we had to take these fights, or
I miss that.
It was bad.
You actually fought who was ahead of you.
You had to take these fights.
It's not, I'm going to make fun of your girlfriend, and now I'm ranked number 12, you're number 2, and we're going to fight.
Yeah, I mean, I've had choices of fights where they said, hey, do you want to fight this guy, this guy, this guy? We'd rather you fight this guy. This is who we want you to fight. And I'd take that guy, But it seems like when they tell you to fight someone, you should fight that person. It's just sort of like your job, kind of,
Who fought Anderson Silva when they won the Ultimate Fighter instead of you?
Travis Lutter.
That's who it was, yeah.
He jumped ahead of me. So I beat David Loazo, and then next in line was Anderson Silva, and then Travis Lutter won the TV show, and that's when he went for that. I'm watching the fight. I'm like, well, at least I hope it's a good fight, you know. And then he went for that armbar or something and missed it or something, and then got pounded out, I think, or something.
And he missed weight. Did we talk about that?
And he missed weight too. All around, I was just like this emoji.
Wasn't even a championship fight.
I was this emoji the whole time.
Which
and
one?
This one. And then meanwhile, I went over and got beat by Yushin Okami by decision, and then I was this emoji again. I was a lot of this emoji at that time in my career.
Wow.
And for those of you on
they
audio,
didn't have emojis then.
On all you guys on audio platforms, you need to get over to YouTube and check out the video so you can see this emoji.
Yeah, that's
no, don't say it. They gotta watch it.
Pulitzer material right there.
Good acting. They look just like the emoji because I'm bald headed.
So there was another fight that night. You know, I've been a little critical of Mike Perry.
Yeah.
Again, the guy's a beast. I'm not talking shit like he's a bad guy or anything. It almost appeared to me that he was going down that route of becoming like the Conor McGregor, Chael Sonnen type, where it's just shit talking nonstop, especially Colby Covington. That's annoying. Mm-hmm. So it was humble to see when he did get the, which I don't know why it was a split decision, but he did beat Paul Felder.
Yeah.
And good, humbling.
Yeah, it wasn't a split decision.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from.
There's no way.
But
it was a great fight.
You know, his post-fight interview of like, hey, I want to thank God, which, you know, I appreciate, whatever. And then I want to, you know, thank the fans, everybody who support me.
I hate when they do that.
I know you do. But, you know, it's better than him. Oh,
he was very respectful.
Yeah,
and I did admire that. I just think people should leave.
So he changed my perception of him, you know. I still wouldn't get a tattoo on my eyebrow, but, I mean, the guy's a beast. And, you know, he
brings
great fight, yeah.
And it was a hell of a fight.
Felder.
Felder, I was saying Paul Felder at the same time, which would be Felder. He proved that he is an amazingly tough fighter, man. I mean, he was covered in blood, and he didn't. Well,
not only was he cut everywhere, had a broken arm,
So he did have a broken arm.
His knee was fucked up, his ankle. Yeah, he broke his arm in the first round.
Really? So it was official?
Yeah. I mean, last I heard.
Okay.
I mean, but still, the dude
was definitely hurt.
And he never tapped, never gave up.
He was throwing with it too.
Yeah.
We saw him throwing with it after the first.
You ever broken a hand or anything? How's that feel?
It doesn't feel good.
Especially trying to punch somebody with a broken hand.
It hurts.
Oof.
It hurts. Yeah. It hurts and then goes numb and then hurts and then goes numb and then hurts. It's not a good feeling.
I broke my second middle toe from the big toe. I don't know what that one's called. In 7th grade basketball, but I finished the game.
Wow.
So you want to talk about toughness?
Huh.
Yeah, you didn't know that amazing stat about your boy, did you?
I'm so glad that I did, and everyone else that's listening now knows. I'm sure that.
I'll bring my VHS tape, like we talked about earlier. I got it.
I'm so relieved they watched or listened to the podcast now, knowing that you broke your middle to second last toe, whatever.
If anybody can tell me what that toe is called.
Which one is it?
Like you got your big toe, and the one next to it. I don't know what the fuck. Because you got what? Thumb, pointer, middle, ring, pinky.
Yeah.
What the fuck are the toes called?
I have no idea. Someone will tell us in the comments.
I hope. If they're listening this long after me talking about toes.
Okay, let's
fingers.
get off the toes. Let's get to the next fight. So, it was an amazingly bad fight, and I don't want to ditch Derek Lewis, our H-Town boy. You know, he was injured, and he did try way more to win the fight.
With a bad back, and he's still throwing.
He was throwing kicks. He was throwing punches.
No excuse for Ngannou.
But no excuse for Ngannou.
That
absolutely no excuse.
Garbage. Apparently, something like 17 total strikes were thrown the entire fight.
To be on a main card and to be making the money that he's making, it was kind of sick, man. It was sick that, like, there's so many other guys out there that are making so much less that would have put on a better show, and he didn't even try to win the fight. And he's not. I don't think he came out and said he was injured. I think he just literally. What did he say? Something like he was. He should have fought better because something.
Fear of his last fight. It carried over. Yeah. He made a statement, and it's.
Well, then that tells you right there he might not be fighter material, because the thing is you have to, you have to be strong enough to get through those kind of times and fight better the next time. And it's like if he can't do that. I don't want to watch another one of his fights until I hear that he's done good now, because that was absolutely brutal. He didn't even try. Nonsense. He threw, I think, in the beginning, a couple really hard punches, hoping that they would land. They didn't, and then it's like he just clocked out.
Well, that shows you. I mean, again, you can test this way more than I ever could. How mentally prepared, I guess, you got to be for the fight.
Yeah.
Because he's. Physically, the guy's ridiculous. Like, what hardest puncher in UFC history, some stupid shit like that. But
That's not stupid. That's pretty fucking
wait,
solid.
well, whatever it is. You
I wouldn't want to get hit by him.
It doesn't do you any good if you're not
I
gonna
wouldn't
throw
say
it.
any of this if he was on the podcast sitting right there.
Well, no, I mean,
I wouldn't want to get hit by Ngannou, but that was a horrible fight.
lighten up, Francis.
It was a horrible fight, and you know, it wasn't Derek's fault. I mean, it was Derek's fault for he could have done more, but I mean, if he was injured and he had problems, and we did see that he was trying as much as he could. So I'm not gonna bag on him, and I want to see him fight again. And I think he's gonna come back because he feels bad about that fight. He'll come back and try to fight harder and better, and I look forward to seeing that fight. And Ngannou, I mean, now he's got 2 bad fights to carry over from, you know, so it's like...
I think I'm going to reach out to Derek, see if he wants to come to Thailand.
Yeah, maybe that'd be a good idea.
All we have in common is Houston, Texas, but...
That's enough, man.
Yeah.
That's enough sometimes.
We're our own state.
Houston, we're a proud people.
Yeah, we are.
And
so hopefully he'll come. I mean, that guy seems like a blast, too.
Yeah,
So
we'd have fun hanging out here, and he could work on some Muay Thai and some striking, and we can rehab his back, get a lot of massage. I mean, there's no better place to get massages than Thailand.
I've never had one here.
They have massages at 7-Eleven. You can get them anywhere. Starbucks, 7-Eleven, every single corner.
Ugh.
Massage.
Man,
Very good.
Nice.
Good impression.
Yeah, that was really good.
I've only been hearing it for 20 years. When you drive by on your bike or...
It's amazing. I mean, I'll drive by with my woman on my back, and they're still like, come massage.
They don't care.
No.
They don't care. So yeah, that wraps up the main card of UFC 226. Stylebender, you wanted to say?
Yeah, he's pretty outstanding.
Yeah, he's on a roll, man. He keeps winning.
He literally, Dana said it best. He is a cross between Anderson Silva and John Jones.
He could be the next big thing.
And again,
I love that name, Stylebender, man. That's sick.
He's been AK, so
Yeah.
I mean, just a great guy to us when he was there. So I wish him all the success.
Yeah.
He'll be probably fighting for a title.
Yeah.
Probably within 6 months, 8 months.
Yeah.
Be my guess.
Absolutely. And
then your boy, have we touched on? I can't remember the last one on Chuck Liddell coming back.
Oh yeah, Chuck Liddell's coming back, and that's official. He just stared down Tito Ortiz at the Hall of Fame ceremonies.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's signed and official. I've been texting Chuck to get on the podcast, so I think we're gonna get him on again and talk about it.
Are y'all gonna make me wear something weird?
I talked to him before he signed the fight when he was talking with Oscar, and it was they were working on everything, and I haven't really talked to him except text since it's been signed and everything, but he's pumped, man. He's ready to put on a fight, and it sounds like Tito is too. So who's not going to watch that fight, and who's not going to say that these fights that are these one-off promotion fights like Golden Boy, just like the old Mayweather and stuff too, they're big fights. Who's to say that they're not going to be big? It's a different kind of like
affliction.
It's a different formula than the UFC does, because they do shows all the time. It's an organization. They're going to do these one-off fights, I think, and make them huge, boost them up really big, and it'll be this one gigantic fight and then an undercard.
I wonder who's going to be on the undercard.
So it's going to be like the new boxing, but it's going to be MMA. So I'm excited to see kind of how they do it, kind of how it works out.
Do you want to go to that? Why don't we get our press passes and go to that?
Yeah, we should.
Can we charge the flight to the company? Do we have any money in the
I don't know about that.
Real quick with Mike Swick podcast account?
I don't know about that. We'll have to see.
Shit.
But I will be at that fight somehow, one way or another, man. We got to go watch Chuck.
Nobody cooler than Chuck Liddell.
He's the coolest guy, man. And
second round knockout, by the way, for
is
Chuck.
that what you think?
Yeah.
Second round knockout? I could say that. They'll take the first round. They're going to get to. I say there's probably not going to be a lot of action. It's been a while since they fought. Feel each other out.
Second round,
Tito's going to be timid. Pissed. Chuck's going to be trying to land big shots. Tito's going to try to get away from him. I think it'll be kind of tough the first round to see any kind of finish or any real action. I think by round 2, they're going to start taking a little bit more chances. And if Chuck can land that punch, Tito's afraid of it. We know that for a fact.
He's beat him twice already, right?
If he does land that punch, that could be all it takes. Because Tito has a bad habit of covering up and kind of like going into the corner. And if he does that, then Chuck's just going to unleash on him. And then they'll stop the fight. Tito's not the type of person that takes a punch and delivers the punch at the same exact time and back and forth like the Forrest Griffin, Stephen Bonner. Yeah. He's more of a kind that if he does get hit, you can follow up, and that's what Chuck does best.
And speaking of that, have you been teaching Chuck how to dress? See how sharp he's looking?
He's looking sharp, man. He's looking sharp.
Shit.
He's moving up, dude. I'm sure he's getting paid a lot of money on this fight too. So
I'm sure he'll do all right.
So let's go ahead and preview the next podcast. We've already recorded it, so we know it's amazing.
Oh, I love that one.
We already know it's amazing. It's coming up soon. In a couple of days, we're going to post the podcast with Lynn Oding. And I know you might not be familiar with Lynn Oding. He is connected to MMA.
But you have seen him.
But
Guaranteed.
you have seen him, and you have seen his work because he has worked as a director, coordinator, director.
Stunt coordinator.
For Equalizer with Denzel Washington. He's worked on...
all the Fast and Furious, as it seems.
Straight Outta Compton. He's worked on all kinds of major movies.
Walker, Texas Ranger.
That's where we got to start.
Yeah.
We've known each other for over 20 years, so we have a lot of cool stories about the past. It's a very inspiring, motivational.
Oh, it is.
podcast.
Funny too. There's some good jokes in there.
I venture to say one of our best podcasts we've ever done.
It seriously is.
And this is a guy who, it's an amazing life he lives because.
Well, they know each other because he did fight before too. So I mean, there is the MMA tie.
He was a fighter. Yeah, we were all fighters. Me, him, and Eva Edwards were the three guys that kind of started out in Texas back in like '96. And me and Jace Jeans, and then me and Eve went the route of wanting to be a UFC fighter, and Lynn went the route of wanting to do film and do stunt work and get his way into film. And he was a stuntman, got into being a stunt coordinator, which is like a director of action of the movies. And then now he's a director who just directed Braven, this big film that you can still watch on streaming, in any streaming platform, I think out there.
Even
Netflix,
his
iTunes,
short videos are good. Like everything he does.
Short films are
man.
amazing. He did Lifted, was this huge short film with DJI. He did with Joel Egerton. It's an amazing short film. He did so many good.
Well, he said he did over 100. I mean, I don't want to ruin the podcast, but he was in over 100 movies.
And the thing is, he talks about a lot of things that no one knows, and like every single person he talks about is like A-list stars and stuff. So I mean, he's got a lot of inside stories and really cool. It was one of the best podcasts.
He's got a pretty unbelievable Denzel Washington story.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna leave it at that. But that's fucking. That guy's something special.
He's
Lynn's
awesome.
such a nice guy.
And he wears AKA Thailand
everywhere.
on set everywhere. If you look at his interviews at the DJI, behind the scenes of Lifted and like Straight Outta Compton, he sent a picture of him and Dr. Dre with like AKA. He loves AKA Thailand shirts and he wears them everywhere. So we are so thankful for that. But it is one of the best podcasts we've ever done. Yeah, hands down, guaranteed.
It really is.
Yeah.
So was the Nick Natanuya one. So you guys got to go watch that. That one's pretty funny.
So that was a great one. And then we have. Hopefully we have Chuck Liddell coming on soon, and Uriah Faber has agreed to come on, and he's into film as well, which we'll get into in 1 second as far as film. And Tyron Woodley is confirmed, but we don't.
That's quite the lineup, right?
We don't have a set time for these guys yet, but we just got back from shooting. We've been gone for 4 days in the very distant areas of Thailand in the village, shooting this film, Little Nak Muay. I think it came out outstanding. I shot 170 shots.
I was there.
Yeah, we got an enormous amount of footage.
It's a good, powerful movie you're going to put together.
It's a powerful movie, man. It's about children in Thailand fighting in full Muay Thai. We're talking 9 years old.
Because they have to.
10 years old, 11 years old, 12 years old, fighting full Muay Thai, supporting their families. And they're fighting for big bucks.
Elbows, knees, no headgear. I mean, it's legit.
It's brutal, man. And like it's going to be a very powerful film because we're taking you inside this world of these children fighters and showing you, we're not taking any sides. We're not trying to say condone and say that kids should fight by no means, and we're not saying
that they shouldn't.
I mean, what we're saying is we want you to just see, just like I wanted to see, what it was like, what these kids were like, and are they going in the ring scared and crying and not wanting to fight and just having to do so because they're being forced to, or are they going in there like warriors? And I think you're going to be very, very surprised when you see this unfold. I mean, like it is absolutely. I've been in Thailand for 20 years. I've seen kid fights for 20 years. I've been in the UFC, for over a decade, 15 UFC fights. 40 fights total, amateur and pro. And as we were filming this thing and doing this film, I was just like, fuck, holy shit. So it's going to be so powerful. We're going to get it done the right way. Lynn's going to try to help me out, get the right people to edit, and get this vision that I have to unfold exactly how I want it to be and how I want to present this to the people. But it's going to be an amazing film, so stay tuned for that. It's called Little Nak Muay.
I want to add one thing. A lot of people the misconception is like, oh, I can't believe these kids are fighting, right? Well, you know, in our society in America, you know, who's to say everybody's broken an arm or leg playing football? I had my nose broken or whatever when I was 11 playing basketball.
Yeah.
So that's no different from what they're doing. You know, I got hurt as a kid.
Well,
you know,
yeah. For them, this is their only kind of chance
and this
to
is
make
their,
something of their life.
And I didn't get paid
cover that
breaking
with
my
our
nose.
subjects.
These people are taking care of their families.
Yeah,
you know,
and we cover in the interview with our subject why he fights and why he wants to fight, and I think it's moving. You know, like what his thoughts are. This is the nicest looking kid.
Oh, great!
I mean,
kid,
he's all he does is smile. I went through a lot of kids. I searched through a lot of people, a lot of subjects to pick the right person that I really wanted to showcase what this was, and I think I got the right guy. So
the look of innocence on his face, but what he can do in the
mixed
ring,
with all the scars. But to hear why he fights.
Have you posted on Instagram yet?
Yeah, it's on my Instagram. So if you go to my Instagram and you look at the latest post, it's a slideshow. He's the last picture. But to hear his story, it's moving, man. And then to see everything unfold, his training, his life, how he lives, why he fights, and then see the actual fight. You know, this is a kid with 50 plus. No, he has 50 fights, 5 knockouts. He's 12 years old. And he's a stadium champion of Paddaloon. So,
and you'd be surprised how much money this kid makes.
Yeah,
it was way more than I thought.
Yeah, so we're gonna take you inside there. So be looking for that, guys. A little Nak Muay. We'll let you guys go. I know we're rattling on here.
Do you smell an Oscar?
I don't think so, man. I don't think so.
That's not what you were saying. The truth.
I don't know. I'm gonna try to still get a hold of DC. He ran into some issues, but if we can, we'll edit it back in here if we can get a call. Yeah. To DC, because I would like to do. Okay, so we were trying to get DC to call in during the podcast. It was last minute. He was super busy, and we couldn't get through. So he wants me to call him right back now. It's after the podcast. We're going to put it in the podcast. Our tech guy's gone. The computer won't work for us, so we can't do it with the normal microphones and the normal podcast setup. So we're going to call DC now, because why not? We got to call him, right? And here we go. Hopefully you can hear this. We got the shotgun mic going.
Hello.
Hey, Daniel.
What's up, Mike?
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Good, man. Just getting up.
Sorry, man. It's early in the morning for you, huh?
Yeah, it's all good.
How you feel, buddy?
Anything for my man, Mike Swick.
Look how nice you are in the morning, dude.
Hey, I'm here too.
Hey, Mark's here too. He feels bad, dude.
Tell Mark that I didn't say anything to him because he didn't show compassion for me before my first MMA fight and tried to get me out of going and get beat up. You remember he showed compassion, Swick?
Yeah, I remember. He heard you.
I watched all your old wrestling videos, though, huh? Did Mike do that?
You're right, Mark. You're right. What's up, bud? How you doing this morning?
I'm outstanding, man. Congratulations.
So we just want to tell you congratulations, man. We don't want to take a lot of your time or anything, and I just want to say, man, it's fucking. I'm so proud, and it's an honor to be your teammate, man. And like to see you grow, how you've grown since you came to AKA, and then now be a 2-division champion, the heavyweight king, and to do it with a knockout, man, not even using your wrestling. I mean, how does that make it feel any better that you did it with a knockout instead of out wrestling him?
Yeah, it does. You know, because for a long time we've said that we have the best striking gym, best wrestling gym, and people just don't want to believe, man. They only want to talk about some of the negative things at AKA, you know, the injuries and you train too hard and you guys aren't making advancements, but we have the best coaches in the world, man, and they had me prepared to do something truly special, and I was lucky enough to pull it off.
Yeah, no, you did, man. And again, congratulations, buddy. I'll let you get back to your. Man, I know you're busy as hell right now. You just won two nights ago, man. So you got 2 belts. You got to like figure out where to put. And man, we're really hoping you get up here to Thailand. You get some time, come out and visit us, and take a break, relax.
We'll bring the family. I look forward to it. Thank you, Mikey.
We'll take care of everything, man. Hey, man, take care and enjoy yourself, man. Enjoy this moment, man. You deserve it.
All right, brother. Thank you.
All right, buddy. Take care. So that was Daniel Cormier, the king of MMA right now. So we had to hear from him. We had to add it in the podcast, even though we had to do it this way. Sorry about the audio sound and the video, but we had to do what we had to do, right?
Yeah. For him to wake up at 7:40 a.m. his time.
Yeah, it's early for him.
That's really cool for him to call. I mean, you could still hear him waking up. So
yeah. Yeah, he texted me the first thing this morning. So, you know, we tried to call last night, but it was super late. He was checking the hotel, and he was going to call back, and then he passed out. So he called or text first thing this morning, and we got the setup. So anyway, we got it all worked out, and yeah. So he's excited that he won the championship, especially by knockout, and
shit, I just
I'm
can't
so
wait.
proud of him and so happy that he could chime in.
I can't wait for him to come to Thailand, man.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
It's going to be great, man. It's going to be great. Thank you, guys. And again, don't forget, Len Oding will be the next podcast in the next few days. It's a great podcast. Please give it a listen or a watch on YouTube. Subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
And vote. You can vote for AKA Thailand.
Oh, that's right.
Being the best destination gym at the Asian MMA Awards.
Yes, if you go to my Twitter or you go to our Facebook page, you can actually see the link and you can vote us to be the best destination gym. So considering that the gym started out as a dream and a sketch, literally, and now it's voted, it's in the running for the best destination gym in the world, that's pretty cool. So if you guys vote, I'll be very, very thankful. It'd be great if we win this in just 4 years. Good call. Yeah. Nice job. See, that's why he's here.
Thanks.
All right. All right. Take care, guys.
Oh, that's a movie.
No.